Antonio Brown released a long statement through his lawyer. It's the first time we're hearing his side of the story after this outburst during Sunday's Bucs game. In that statement, Brown claims he was forced to play on an injured ankle that will now require surgery.
In a statement from his attorney, it reads in part, "I didn't quit, I was cut. I didn't walk away from my brothers. I was thrown out. As part of their ongoing cover-up, they are acting like I wasn't cut and now demanding that I see a doctor of their choice to examine my ankle. What they did not know until now is that on Monday morning, I had an urgent MRI on my ankle. It shows broken bone fragments stuck in my ankle, the ligament torn from the bone, and cartilage loss, which are beyond painful. I gave the Bucs everything I had on the field. What the organization is doing now needs to get cleaned up. I do not understand how people publicly claiming to be concerned about my mental health can do these things to me privately. Once my surgery is complete, I'll be back to 100% and look forward to next season. Business gonna be booming."
As you know, head coach Bruce Arians said after Sunday's game, Brown was, quote, no longer a Buck. And while Brown refused to go into the game, Coach Arians says it had nothing to do with the wide receiver being injured. But tonight, Brown is claiming something very different. His statement reads in part, quote, "I could not make football plays on that ankle. Yes, I walked off the field, but there's a major difference between launching from the line and taking hits compared to jogging off the field with a rush of emotions going through your mind." Brown also says he ripped off his jersey because he did not want to wear the team's brand on his body anymore. Later, Brown wrote he's grateful to Bucs fans, his teammates, and everyone who believed in him.
Josina, there's a lot to unpack in the full statement, but you just spoke with Brown's lawyer who put out that statement. What more can you tell us?
Well, the first and foremost thing is that I think that the statement that came out on Antonio Brown's behalf via his attorney, Sean Bernstein, is that you see that it is a complicated situation, and it makes you understand why his situation with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has not resolved simply. The quote that his attorney gave to me said, "This transcends football and is a call for reform on how we take care of players and how we treat one another as human beings." And there's also a lot of strong language in that statement that he also released that kind of lets you know just how much the relationship has deteriorated since AB joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season, became their most targeted wide receiver by the end of last season, and ultimately helped them win a Super Bowl. It illuminates the fact that there is a deterioration of trust that I think really kind of reached that threshold with the vaccination card situation and has now devolved into this. You have heard head coach Bruce Arians say that in the discussions that he had with Antonio Brown on the sidelines, that it did not involve an ankle. You've also heard him say that he cares about his well-being. Obviously, what Antonio Brown is saying in this statement is contradictory to that because he's been in the New York area here. He's gone to the doctor, and they feel like they've confirmed the ankle situation, which he's attesting to that the team already knew. So what this basically amounts to is a grievance. That's what they call that when you have this between a team and the NFLPA fighting also on behalf of the player to get the situation resolved. One, so that the player can still receive their money, and or two, so that he can also fix the perception around everything that happened as far as the manner in which he left the field. That's part of this too. And then also just with regards to the injury relation and how that also impacts the grievance as well.
So to you, speaking to the lawyer in this statement, does this give you some clarification on how the Bucs have been handling this situation over the last couple of days?
Well, I mean, the first and foremost thing is that Bruce Arians, the head coach, told us right after the game that Antonio Brown is no longer a Buck. So that is letting you know how the head coach feels with regards to Antonio Brown's status on the team. However, Bruce Arians is not the general manager of the team, and there are also implications, right? Not just in terms of the money that AB is owed, but also in terms of if he were to be released, go through waivers and either be picked up buy a team through waivers or become a street free agent after not being picked up through waivers. He can go to an opponent of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is also impactful, and how much money gets tied up into all of that. So all of that is very complicated, and it's not as simple as just releasing him. If it was, he would already be gone. And so it is up to Jason Light, who is the general manager of the Bucs, to figure that out with the attorney from the NFLPA and make sure that everything is kosher, because it is up to the union to make sure that if a contract is in place, that contract on behalf of the player is honored. And the team is also the club is also going to be making sure that they can designate its rights, whether that be implementing discipline and also being able to abscond payment, whether that be releasing him right away. And if so, under what explanation? So all of that has to be, kind of hammered out. But I think the one thing that's very illuminating from Antonio Brown's statement is that he is saying that, one, he feels that he needs surgery, and then two, and also that the ankle is very, painful, potential surgery, but that he also illuminates that he doesn't think that he's going to be playing right away this season. So for teams watching this situation that may need a wide receiver after all of the playoff implications play out, that is a notice right there.
Taking a step back, what are you hearing from around the league about this situation? I'm talking big picture NFL.
Well, one, it's just obviously very shocking how everything played out from an optics standpoint, right? That's not something that we're used to seeing. Maybe the closest example that I can think about is Vontae Davis retiring at, halftime. But the manner in which AB left was very, shocking. So you obviously hearing reactions to that. But two, just even in my source conversations, I know, at least one team that would be interested in AB, pending this situation, but it's all very sensitive because he's still a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and obviously you cannot have tampering. And it also depends on what teams are still available after this last week in the regular season in terms of those eligible to continue on for the postseason relative to that team that I'm talking about that is still interested or what have you. But AB said at the end of his statement that business is still booming. He's letting you know that he thinks that he can continue to carry on as well, and that this explanation, though he has had incidents in the past, he feels like should be judged on itself and not prejudice this situation, and also illuminating to the need for mental care as well, as the quarterback for the Bucs asking for empathy as well for his still teammate Antonio Brown.
Even after he has this surgery, Josina, you mentioned it, there could be someone who could be interested in bringing Brown on, but he's going to have another chance after all these strikes, you still think, in the NFL?
Well, at the end of the day, people have to separate their perceptions and emotions of what has occurred and put that in a separate box to business. The NFL is still a business. And if you have talent and someone needs that talent and that talent is in demand, that creates opportunity. And though Antonio Brown went through everything that he went through before coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there was still a situation, obviously his relationship with Tom, that allowed him to get on this team and still help them to win a Super Bowl. That is not lost on people who still realize that he has elite talent and can help their team. Now, I've not talked to every team in the NFL. I've talked to one team in which I know that there's interest there, but he also has to be available because of the ankle situation. And, these teams also have to be continuing on into the postseason. So by him saying that he feels like he'll be ready for next season, as in not the current season going on, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, a continuing story nonetheless. Josina Anderson, thank you for the time giving us further clarification on the statement released by Antonio Brown. Now let's give you a look at the timeline of Brown's time with the Buccaneers. He signed with Tampa Bay in October 2020. Then in February, recording 5 receptions and a touchdown in the team's win in Super Bowl 55. This December, he was suspended 3 games by the NFL for falsifying a COVID-19 vaccination card. All of this leading up to this month, that scene on the sideline where Brown took off his uniform on the sideline, leaving the game in the third quarter against the Jets.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.